10864. Station's your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Welcome into the Country Financial Studio on a Friday. It is Duck Insider brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I am Ryan Milano. I'll have your way through today's show. So much going on in Oregon athletics. We'll break down the women's basketball game from last night. There's two sports currently in action right now in Oregon lacrosse on the road in New Jersey. They're playing Rider in their first game of the weekend. They'll play Rutgers later in the weekend. Currently, as we stand right now, the Ducks just going into halftime up 9-7 in what has been an incredibly back and forth first half on the road against Rider. That's where we are currently now in the 1 o'clock hour. Also for softball, they are in action in what has been a weather-filled weekend. So thank you, fans who showed up to the Jane and are continuing to bear with us through all of the inclement weather that Eugene has thrown at us over the weekend. So for Oregon softball, they're in action right now against Mount St. Mary's. Currently, as it stands, a 4-2 ball game. Oregon in front in the second inning. The Ducks, they actually played Mount St. Mary's yesterday and threw a combined no-hitter. Stevie Hansen started it off with 3 perfect frames. Taylor Spencer came in, maneuvered around a few walks, the only base runners of the game for the Mount of Mount St. Mary's. And then Reagan Breedlove came in to close it out. The 38th no-hitter in program history last night as Oregon got a big win, highlighted by a lot of offensive firepower over Mount St. Mary's. Yesterday, KK Humphreys hit 2 home runs in the game, 6 runs batted in for her. Kylu Shar had 4 stolen bases in the ballgame. That tied a school record for swipe bags in a game, the 4th Duck to do so. Marty McCall did it in 1991. Susie Barnes did it in 2001. And Nina Bryant did it in 2009. So for the first time in 15 years, a Duck had swiped 4 bags. That was Kylu Shar last night. Also, beach volleyball, they're in action today. 2 top 6 teams on the horizon. Number 6 TCU, number 2 Stanford. They're scheduled tough, Coach Dillard did early in this season. Also, coming up not today, but tomorrow, men's basketball on the road against Arizona. That a big game for the Ducks' bubble chances. And women's basketball and men's basketball both play on a Saturday this week, with the season coming to a close of the regular season for women's basketball. It's senior day against Stanford on Saturday, and then with just 1 week left in the men's basketball season, the schedule starts to get a little bit wonky. And it's also Oregon baseball game day against UCSB, where Oregon will play against the Gauchos at 4 o'clock today. That's where I'm going, right over to PK Park after this. Then 2 o'clock on Saturday and at noon on Sunday. That's the schedule coming up for Oregon throughout the weekend. But I want to break down what happened with women's basketball last night, because I was in the arena. I was working for the network broadcast, and what a heck of a game that was. From a pure basketball standpoint, that was a tremendous basketball game at MassNet Arena last night. And the Ducks did a really great job of battling back in the ball game to get it back to a competitive game, not only, but also to give Oregon a lead and a really strong chance to win the game down the stretch. Ultimately ended up in a heartbreaker for Oregon, where the Ducks, they started down 11 early. It was 15-4 Cal right out of the jump. Kelly Graves had to use one of his 4 timeouts early in the ball game, but the Ducks continued to battle from that point, and really ever since that first 4-ish minutes of the ball game where Cal jumped out to the big lead, Oregon outplayed Cal for the entirety of the rest of the ball game. After being down 11 early, the Ducks battled, got down 5 at halftime, and then in the third quarter, the Ducks came out and were almost as good, if not even better. I thought the third quarter might have been one of the best quarters, maybe even of the year for Oregon, where Cal was shooting an incredibly high percentage from the field in the first half. Then in the third quarter, Cal almost couldn't make a shot, going from 43% from the field down to 19% from the field for a majority of that frame. And then a Chance Gray three-pointer, the only three-pointer made of the game for Oregon at the third quarter buzzer, ended up tying the game going into the final period. Oregon in that final period, they started out hot. Ducks got up 6 through the first 6 minutes of that fourth quarter, but then Cal, after really struggling from the field, found their shooting touch again. They made 7 consecutive field goals in a row. There was a point in which it was a 7-0 California run, where it went from a 6-point Duck lead to a 1-point Cal lead late down the stretch. And Oregon had some looks in that stretch, and Coach Kelly Graves, we'll hear from him in a few seconds, he talked about that, but Oregon was in the game against Cal late, and it was back and forth, and the Ducks, without a lot of late game experience, executed pretty well in the late game. And there was even a time where really this game came down to a few plays here and there, maybe even one play here and there. The one that really jumps out to me is there was a rebound and a ball on the floor. Possession arrow was with Cal at this point, and so Philly Che goes down to the floor. A few other Ducks do, a few Bears do as well, and everyone's scrapping for the basketball, and it looked like the ball got tied up, but instead of a tie-up, it was called a foul, and so Cal was able to maintain the possession arrow, and that foul put the Bears into the bonus. So free throws for Cal, and then the next possession, or rather late in the game, when the tie-up came again, where Oregon, with about 28 seconds left in the game, were able to trap Cal in the half court and forced a tie-up. The possession arrow was still pointed the way of California, so it stayed with the Bears in what was a one-possession game at that point, and ultimately Oregon couldn't quite get the possession arrow back in their favor and couldn't quite outpace Cal down the stretch. And, well, in a game that had a whole bunch of plays that were critical, that was the one for me that really stood out, where if a bounce or a call goes one way here or there and a possession arrow flips here or there and it's a jump ball instead of free throws, it might be different. But ultimately, that wasn't what happened, and Oregon, in an incredibly tough-fought effort on senior weekend, did a really strong job of battling against the Bears. The big three for Oregon really showed up. Chance Gray, 17 points, 6 assists. Pretty much all of her points came in the second half. She was incredibly aggressive in that second half and efficient in the second half as well. Grace Van Slooten, a double-double for her. 14 points, 11 rebounds for Van Slooten. And Philly Che joined her 20th double-double of the year for Philly Che with 10 points and 11 rebounds. The big three for Oregon, they came to play. Kelly Graves, happy with the fight from his team, but also wanting the win. He spoke with the media postgame. Here is Coach KG.
Well, I will give an opening statement. I just want to do two things. Number one, I do want to give Cal credit and Coach Sharman. You know, they've, she's done a terrific job. In this game in particular, but the season, she's just, Cal's in a different place, and it's a lot of credit to her staff, and certainly her players, obviously. Disappointed. We had a chance. And we just a couple of stretches there late defensively, and then, we had opportunities to win the game. But I'm really proud of our team. They played hard. The areas we were weak against them last time, we did much better this time. Just some things that jump out at us. We had 17 offensive boards, but only 6 second chance points. We just didn't capitalize tonight on opportunities all the time. And that's unfortunate. But we did a lot of good things tonight, and I feel much better about our effort. But it's still a loss, so we're disappointed about that, certainly.
You guys were leading by 6, I think, with about 3 to go.
Yep.
Defensively, it seemed like it just wasn't maybe your best. What kind of took place from your perspective?
Yeah, I think we just broke down a little bit. I thought we let 32, especially late in the game. I thought we had a couple opportunities to trap her, and we didn't. We kind of fouled maybe a little bit quick. I liked our end of game, quite frankly. I thought we executed pretty well for not having been in a lot of close games like this. But yeah, I think I don't know the particulars, but yeah, I think they went on a 7-0 run. And at the same time, I thought we had some pretty good looks at the other end. I mean, it's okay that they make a few in a row, but we didn't answer during that stretch. I think we had one turnover, a charge, just a couple things out of the ordinary.
Even with the disappointing finish, this is still the best we've seen from this team in a while. How do you think this will motivate them for Saturday's game?
Well, hopefully, they have a little bit of confidence knowing that, we can play good basketball. We just got to keep playing hard. I thought that was a big key tonight. I thought played really hard. But no, they don't feel good. I don't know if there's a whole lot you can take away from it, really. I mean, we lost the game, and we're obviously trying to win. So, yeah, we got our work cut out for us against Stanford. How's that game going? Stanford did. Did Beers play? So, I mean, all I can take it back to my first year here, we played Stanford on senior night, and we had similar circumstances, and we found a way to get it done. So hopefully that magic can come back 10 years later. We'll see.
What were you saying to the team in those final timeouts as it was getting late in the fourth quarter?
Well, I thought we executed pretty well. I thought the last three maybe was a little bit rushed, but they executed well what we asked them to do. And I thought even defensively, I thought could have defended that number 32 a little bit better along the sideline. I thought we had the right call, the right people in place, and we just didn't make the play.
And how were you adapting? Grace was a little bit cold in that first half, and then she got really hot heading into the second half. What did you tell her at the half, and then how are you adapting with the team?
Yeah, I mean, Grace is smart enough to know when what she's got to do. Grace is really good when she attacks the basket and is aggressive. And I didn't think in the first half she was as aggressive. And then I thought in the second half she did a better job of drawing fouls. She when she drives, sometimes she doesn't initiate contact and get calls. In the second half she did. We reminded her of that at halftime. And, yeah, I mean, she's a good player. Good players figure it out.
Philly had an opportunity to tie it or take the lead with those free throws. It's tough from a confidence perspective, but how do you keep her up after?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's the free throws didn't cost the game. I mean, obviously we take the lead with them, but you guys, it's one play here, it's one play there, it's a missed assignment. It's the three. Anytime you have a one possession game, it comes down. You can't think of one play. I mean, if we didn't give them a three on the first possession after they got a second chance, a lot of things. That play could have been anywhere. Philly, she'll be fine. I mean, she'll be fine. I know she's probably taking it hard now, but she played a great game for us, another double-double. And, I wish, she sure gets manhandled in there a lot. It's the old classic, well, when you're the biggest kid, they sometimes forget to look at those. But she played a good game tonight. I'm proud of her. Proud of the whole team, actually.
You mentioned losing criminally a couple times down the stretch, 32. What in particular was kind of difficult about denying her the ball there late?
Well, she's crafty. She's got a little Larry Bird and a little Steph Curry in her. I mean, she's just crafty. Those kids, that's an old Larry Bird trick. You move them up the lane and then just throw it up and over in the corner, and they had spread us out. We didn't have any help. We were putting pressure on the inbounder, and then Grace is long and athletic. I thought she would be able to, take that pass away, and they got it up and over. The one thing I wish we would have done, and we did it a couple times, was trap. We kind of fouled too early on the last one, and I thought we had her kind of deep in that corner, and we could have trapped and then maybe gotten a steal out of that thing. But, credit her. She stepped up and made, four free throws late.
Coach, you guys shot 1 for 9 from 3. Would you attribute this loss mostly just poor three-point shooting? Is that a big, determining factor in this loss, in your opinion?
A lot of determining factors. No, I mean, we're not a great three-point shooting team. We're I think last in the conference in three-pointers made. Sure, 1 for 9's not great, but no, that wasn't the only reason.
That's Coach KG speaking to the media after the loss last night to Cal. That's brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with exceptional cancer care close to home. The Ducks certainly did fight yesterday against Cal, and it was a close game all the way down the stretch, and one that you want to win if you're Oregon, and certainly a tough loss for the Ducks. But cannot doubt that there was an extreme amount of fight and toughness and battle, not only to have a lead late, but get all the way back in after they were down 11 early. The Ducks fought really well throughout the ball game. We've got to get to our first time out of the show, and we come back. Joey, a few days ago, he caught up with women's tennis head coach Courtney Nagle. She'll join the show next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I am Ryan Milano, holding you through today's show. We just talked about women's basketball and their fight last night against California. Oregon will close up their regular season on Saturday against Stanford. It is senior night for the Ducks. Both men's and women's basketball will be in action on Saturday as the men are on the road. They just lifted off on their way down to Tucson. They will play tomorrow against the Wildcats. And what is a big game for Oregon in terms of their tournament chances? We had, a lot of bubble talk on Tuesday's show. I'm not sure if we were actually talking about the bubble or just bubbles in general, but we did talk a lot about bubbles on Tuesday. And, it's a big win for Oregon, who is currently around the bubble. I don't know which preposition I want to use to preface, but they're bubble adjacent, in or on a bubble, but they will be in action on Saturday along with women's basketball home, men's basketball on the road. A team that is entering into their Pac-12 play is Oregon women's tennis. So a little bit of a weird schedule at this point, where they went on the road, went through their non-conference, and then they're actually off for 2 weeks. No matches this weekend for Oregon women's tennis. It gave us a chance to catch up, or rather Joey a chance to catch up with head coach Courtney Nagle a few days ago. So here is the conversation between Joey and Coach Nagle.
All right, this is a treat for me because we didn't get a chance to do the preseason conversation with Courtney Nagle. Coach!
What's up?
Hi, how are you? Okay, so we didn't get to do the preseason conversation, but a little bit of a break, pre-conference season, so you got to catch us up. What's been going on at the Student Tennis Center and in all of your travels so far?
We've been on the road for the last couple weeks, so the Ducks are happy to be back in Eugene. They were not happy that the weather was great when we were out of town.
Right, yeah.
But, you know, we're glad to be back. We have a weekend off now, but we were just most recently in Iowa, where we played Iowa and Iowa State. And then the weekend before that, we were out in Boise, where we played Boise and Minnesota. So we got a couple good road weekends in, and came away with 4 wins over those 2 weekends, which we're very, very proud of, and you know, pleased with the way that the girls competed.
8-3 right now, sitting at an 8-3 record. So if I told you going into the season you'd be at 8-3 heading into conference, what would the breakdown be?
I think something similar. I think, you know, there's definitely like a match or two in there that got away from us that I think we learned a lot from, that I think helped us in the last 2 weekends, because I think the team that is stepping out on the competition court now is very different than the team that started the season.
Right.
And we've grown a lot. We're just more competitive. We're tougher. And we're playing a little bit better tennis too.
You know, when you win, you've won a couple 4-3s, right? So when you win a close one like that, I think it's akin, like in another sport, basketball's on my mind because it's the height of basketball season, right? So it's like if you get the one possession win at the buzzer beater, like college tennis to me is so unique because it is a team sport, but it's an individual sport that's a team sport in college. Like when you get a 4-3, what does it feel like as a team, as a coaching staff?
It's definitely, in a tennis match, there's a lot of momentum shifts, and it's kind of like a roller coaster ride sometimes because, and in both of the last 2 matches that were 4-3, you know, we came out and we won the doubles point.
Yep.
We had momentum, you know, in the Iowa match and the Iowa State match. We were not, you know, it wasn't decisive, you know, first set wins on all the courts, and honestly in the Iowa match, like we got out to a slow start in the singles, so it wasn't, the momentum was starting to shift towards Iowa, and then we grabbed it back, and you know, and they tried to grab it back, and you know, we were like, no, we're taking it. So yeah, there's a lot of momentum shifts. I think in those moments, like it's really cool to see how the girls rally together, kind of how the ones that are still out on the court really help those that come through.
Yeah.
So like in the Iowa match, you know, Sophie and Candy didn't win their matches, but the competitiveness of their matches, or her, you know, Candy's match going 3 sets, Sophie's almost going 3, that helped the players that were out there to feel like, hey, there's 4 people out here that can put a point on the board.
Yeah.
And that's a lot different feeling than, you know, when there's only 2 out there, and you know those 2 have to get the win.
I'm fascinated. I always have been at the aspect of collegiate tennis and that team mentality because it is so unique in your sport, right? I mean, like to have that sort of the camaraderie that raises the competitiveness. I don't know. I just think it's a really cool aspect. I imagine it's a little stressful as a coach at times, though, right?
It can be, yes. We develop some gray hairs over time, but you know, I think you know, yeah, we you know, those moments are kind of what help our team, you know, build in their competitiveness and kind of learn how to handle those moments better. And, you know, I think for us, the last 2 weekends having Karin in the 3-all hot seat was great. She's been in that situation before, and, you know, I think for her to come through in that moment was really, you know, huge for our team, but also great for her. And then you saw the next day she came out and, you know, killed her opponent 0-0, and so that those can be really big confidence builders as well. And then against Iowa State, in that clinch hot seat was Usia, who came back from a set down, and then in the 3rd set she was down 2-1, and you know, it looked like that girl was starting to come on really strong, but Usia put her foot down and wasn't going to let that happen. So those were just like really exciting moments for the girls. in those situations, but also for the girls outside, it's a cool feeling.
Talking women's tennis with head coach Courtney Nagle. So you touched on a few different individuals there, but break down the roster for us, because I know from looking at everything and following along, you guys have had some different, I guess, standouts over the course of the season. That's what you like to see, the depth on display, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I think I'd say that this is probably the deepest team we've had, probably since I've been here, in terms of like everybody can play on our team, and everybody can play in the lineup, and so that's a challenge for us. They make it really difficult for us. But we have we have 2 seniors in Nina and Usia. We have 2 juniors in Sophie and Karin. 2 sophomores, Liv and Joe Yi, and then 2 freshmen, Tilda and Candy.
Distribution.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great, and that's why also tennis is great, because one match, the clinch point or the big match can come from any given person.
Right.
And just every day's a different day, and tennis is unique in that sense that sometimes I can beat anyone.
Yep.
They can beat me the next day. It's pretty fun.
I'm kind of curious too, in practice, and how much throughout the course of a season does practice dictate, the competition level, who's playing where, how do you slot things? I'm always fascinated by that aspect of coaching too. You're smiling as I ask that, because it's man, yeah, I imagine that's tough as a coach.
It is tough, because I think, and I think as coaches, you want your players to compete the way they compete in practice in matches, and and so I think that can be, we want you to beat your teammate, but we also want you to beat your opponent, and so that is a challenge, and but
and then also you beat your teammate, and then it's but you beat your teammate, right? I know that I always feel that way. In every practice that I watch, it's well, boy, that was a great play, but it happened against somebody wearing an Oregon uniform.
Yeah.
Right? It's a competition level. We also have not had you on since a new addition to your coaching staff. Tell us a little bit about Pete.
Yeah, Pete Yelico joined us in January. So he's been great. He's really just made himself at home, and he's made an impact already. I think he's connected with the girls, and it really feels like we're in working with him that I've known him for forever.
That's a big deal,
which is a good sign, and. And he loves the game. He's a great teacher of the game, and is just eager to be there to help the girls in any way that he can, and help me, and so it's been great having him.
Conference season is here, but we talked about a little bit the break that you have. That's just good scheduling by the head coach, right?
Yeah, it worked out that way. No, it was planned. But yeah, it's a great kind of midway point before we enter the season, the conference season, and I think our girls are ready for a little breather, and then they'll be good to go to head out and kick off the Pac-12 season in Colorado and Utah.
So sitting at 8-3 through the non-conference, break down the conference for us. What are you seeing heading into conference play? Some of the keys to success for your team against the competition.
I think we have some good matches coming up in Colorado and Utah on the road. Obviously, that's at altitude. Both teams are good. I think for us, continuing to come out strong in the doubles point is going to be huge, and then just continuing to be relentless and competitive in our singles matches, regardless of how the score looks. Just making it really tough for people to put points on the board against us. And then after that, we have one more non-conference match. Portland comes to us, and then we have the Arizonas, and then the Washingtons at home. And then that's all of our home matches.
Yeah.
That's probably the earliest we will be done with our home season. I think that's the earliest we've ever been done. So, and then the rest of April, we're at the California schools.
Awesome.
So it's all great competition. Every match is a challenge, and every match is a battle. So we just got to keep preparing for those little battles each weekend.
Well, it's great catching up with you. Here's to a long postseason run. We'll catch up with you again. Courtney Nagle, thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Appreciate you being here.
Thanks for having me.
That's the conversation with Joey and Coach Nagle. Coach Nagle sitting at 8-3 through non-conference play, going into conference season. Not starting up this weekend, but next weekend is when Oregon will jump in to Pac-12 play on the women's tennis side of things. You don't have to wait that long for Oregon baseball. Ducks are in action coming up in just about an hour, 2.5 hours. What time is it right now? 1:30 local time. Yep. First pitch at 4 o'clock. Yeah, as Scott just said, I gotta leave. We do have a whole rest of the show to get to. Luckily, I'll be able to stay for that. But some of the guys that you'll see over at PK Park later today, they'll be on the show. And well, right after this break, yeah, we're coming back on the other side. It's Second Side on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Second Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. And Oregon baseball supposed to be on the road this weekend. Schedule change. We get another home weekend at PK Park. The first game, if you're with us live in the 1 o'clock hour, well, now sitting at 1:32 p.m. exactly. So we're basically 2-3 hours away from first pitch. Yeah, 4 o'clock. First pitch. The math is hard on that, but I think it's 2.5 hours away. Yeah, 2.5. 2.5 hours away from first pitch. 4 o'clock is the game start today. 2 o'clock is going to be the game start on Saturday, and then 12 o'clock will be first pitch on Sunday. I'll be on the air on the pregame show 15 minutes before all of those first pitches as well. Someone who has gotten in both weekends for Oregon baseball in the back end of their bullpen, and an experienced member for the Ducks, Logan Mercado, got a 6-out save against Baylor and then came in the second game of the doubleheader, game 3 of the series against Lafayette, and maneuvered his way out of a bases-loaded jam with a 3-run lead, struck out the final 2 batters in order to get the final 2 outs of that game against Lafayette last weekend. So Logan Mercado, an experienced member of this pitching staff, he spoke with the media a few days ago.
How's life out of the bullpen?
Pretty good. It's really good. I think, having a set role in the bullpen and not, kind of knowing when you're going to come in, it's more about the end of the game. You kind of have a stable routine with that. So life's been good out of there, and I think the mentality out of there is just, give everything I have in whatever spot we're in. So it kind of makes that easy.
How late into your like training through the off season or preseason did you like find out that you were gonna go bullpen first?
I found out like 2 weeks before the season. That was the plan. I'd been training as a starter and long tossing and doing all that pretty much all throughout the fall and beginning of the winter. And Coach Hawk got an idea and brought me in. Was like, hey, I think that you'd be really, really good for this. And I agreed. I kind of started getting the hang of it the last couple of scrimmages, and so far it's been working out pretty well. And I'm very excited to dive deeper into that role and kind of take it to a new level.
How do you feel like your stuff has been playing so far this year?
I feel like everything's been pretty good. 2 outings so far, one shaky, one really good. And I just think that's just a result of the preparation. I think, in terms of stuff, I think the fastball's been working really well. Changeup's been pretty much on for me. And, I've got other 2 pitches that I can go to at any time. So kind of makes it pretty good for a closer to have 4 pitches, which is nice. And I have that, so.
Waz has talked about leaning on veterans this year. What's that role kind of been like for you?
I just think it's more of just experience and leadership for the veterans. I think a lot of the young guys look up to us in terms of just how it looks like. Waz talks a lot about, hey, this is what it's going to look like. And I think us veterans, we kind of provide the image for that for the young guys. So in terms of, on the field stuff and how we carry ourselves, I think that's just what he's looking for us to do, is just show everybody else kind of what it looks like in terms of experience and presence. And so that's, I think, why he's leaning on the veterans so much.
You guys have a lot of young guys in the bullpen, especially. Do you feel like your experience to lead by example has worked out so far this year?
Yeah, I think so. And I love the growth that our young guys have made so far. I think they're really starting to buy in to the process, kind of how we talk about process all the time. And so it's really nice to see the young guys start to buy in more and more and more every day. And it's kind of cool being an old guy around here when they look up to us and ask us questions and be like, hey, how do you approach this, or how do you do this? So it's kind of fun when you get those questions from young guys, because you get to pass on your knowledge and pass on what you've learned. So
is there a young guy in particular, or younger guys, like just multiple of them, who have been asking stuff like that?
Yeah, there's been a couple. I mean, Cole Stokes asked me some questions sometimes. Colin Clark, Sammy Kova, those guys. And some guys that haven't gotten the chance yet. Finn Chapman, talked with him a lot too, and so especially those freshmen and other guys as well too. So, I've just been trying to do the best I can, and as a leader and as a player, just provide some legacy and leave this pitching staff better than when I found it.
You've got a very unique, very custom-looking glove this year that pays tribute to kind of your heritage. What does that mean for you?
Yeah, I think my Mexican heritage is important. I got the Mexican flag on there, and obviously the mint coloring is very loud. It's my senior year. It's my last time playing college baseball, and so I wanted to go all out, kind of be loud. And yeah, that Mexican flag is pretty important to me, just in my heritage. And taking a Latino roots class actually this term, and I've kind of been asking my parents and asking my dad's extended family kind of where I come from, and learning more and more about it every day. So I've learned a lot about myself and kind of my family from this year alone, which is actually pretty cool. So I think that's very important to me.
You mentioned that it is your last year of college ball. How different of a team, of an Oregon team specifically, is this year as compared to last year, 2 years, 3 years ago? Just like where you guys have a lot of arms, a lot of depth there in the bullpen, some like real good talent there. How different is it to pitch on this team compared to the last couple of years?
I think it's the best we've ever been, in my personal opinion. We have depth, we have talent, we have experience, we have leadership, and on the offensive side too. I mean, offensively, we've been a powerhouse school for the last few years, and nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. We've brought guys in, we've developed them really good. Jack Martyr does a fantastic job, along with Coach Hinkle and now Gavin Grant, who's a grad assistant. They do a fantastic job developing the offense, developing the defense, and I would say just Waz kind of brings it all together with us. And Coach Hawk's been amazing to us as a pitching staff, coming in as a new coach. But in terms of just the team, it's been the best it's ever been, and we're gonna go a long ways this year. And it's kind of on us to take it as far as we can.
We talked a lot last year about kind of the new PK Park dimensions and how they've helped the offense. But what's that change been like for you guys as a pitching staff? What adjustments maybe have you needed to make to that?
Yeah, not really adjustment in our pitching, but kind of in our mentality, just going for it every single pitch. And if we keep that mentality all throughout the game, good stuff's going to happen. So, we don't really pay attention to the ballpark dimensions that we play in or the hitters that we face. It's just how can we go for it every single pitch, every single day in our work. So that's been really working well for us. We're going to continue to do that.
What's it like having Gavin on the bench, a guy who you played with last year, who's now one of your coaches?
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird, and it's fun to see him in the high pants now with the coaches, and because he's always been a player to me. I've always known him as just a teammate, and now he's a coach now. But he's been amazing. He's probably gonna make it into a career in whatever he does. But it's been really cool having him on the staff and having him stick around because he knows about the regional team we had my freshman year and kind of the teams that we've had in the past, and he kind of provides coaching leadership, but also like a player leadership as well with the guys that just came in, the guys who have been here only a year. He knows what it is. He knows how it is as a player, and he can provide that wisdom as a coach now.
How much have you seen the fan support grow from when you first got here on campus to now?
It's grown exponentially. It's been amazing. I think before I got here, what I've heard is, the team culture and the fan culture wasn't really it. And I think as we've done better and better over the years, as we've accumulated more accolades, as we've gone farther in the postseason, the fan culture and the fan presence in the stadium has just really grown. I think that's really cool. And I think that's just a result of us putting in the hard work every day, and showing pretty much everybody who comes out to the ballpark, hey, we're about it, and we're gonna work hard every single day. We're gonna put 100% into our preparation, and this is what you guys get to see. So it's been pretty cool, just seeing everybody come to the stadium, seeing more and more new people come find out what Oregon baseball is all about. So it's just been cool to see that growth from it.
That's Logan Mercado talking about Oregon baseball. The Ducks will be in action today in just over 2 hours from now, up against UC Santa Barbara, a team that is ranked inside of the top 25, depending on which publication you look at. I expect to see all of you at PK Park, those of you that can make it. It will be colder than it was last weekend. Just prepare. Bring a blanket, maybe two, a few layers. Just have a good time at the ballpark. Hand warmers are not only important, maybe even required. Let's have a good day at the ballpark. Have a good weekend at the ballpark. And, weather, it's not the greatest weather. It's Oregon, yeah. But it's going to be great baseball. So come out to the ballpark. I want to see all you there at PK Park. I'm going to see a few other guys at PK Park. Jackson Jordan, Bryce Betcher. They'll be there later today. They're there right now. And they also were talking with the media earlier in the week. We're getting to those guys after this timeout when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veteran's guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We are inside the Country Financial Studio. We just heard from Logan Mercado, one of the pitchers out of the Oregon bullpen, and well, now it's time for a new face in the Oregon bullpen. The transfer junior pitcher, the relief pitcher, Jackson Jordan. He came in last week, pitched 1 inning, 3 batters, 3 strikeouts. Doesn't get much better than that. Here is the conversation with the new Duck, Jackson Jordan.
Rookie into sitting on the mound, what do you feel like what's been the best thing about your stuff so far this year?
Really just trying to pound the strike zone as much as possible. I'm a 2-3 pitch guy, so just throwing every pitch with conviction. It's really all you can do.
Process of you deciding to come to Oregon?
Coming out of high school, I didn't get many looks, so I went the JUCO route, and then sophomore year started getting a lot of offers and stuff, and talked to Martyr, and he sold me. It was about the process, everything about it. I loved it.
We didn't get to talk to you in Arlington, but what was it like, your first Oregon experience? You're sitting there in Globe Life Field, you come out of the bullpen, Major League bullpen, get in the game. What was that like?
It was definitely different. My last game I played at my JUCO, my sophomore year, I think there was 15 people in the stands, so definitely different. I wouldn't say I was nervous or anything. I just really tried to take in the moment, take a deep breath, look around, really experience it. It's cool.
And this past Sunday when you go in at PK, what was that experience like again? First, you obviously pitched at PK before, but this with fans, what was that like?
Oh, it was awesome. The whole environment, the good weather, scoreboard, the food, the smells, everything. It was really cool. I enjoyed it.
What's it been like working with Hawk this year, and what's been the process of, I don't know, just kind of figuring out your relationship with him?
Oh, Hawk he's by far the best pitching coach I have ever had or experienced in my life. Not only from the physical mechanics of the game, but also mental and off the field stuff too. He's always asking questions, but I love the guy. He's a role model, inspirational, everything.
A lot of pitchers have talked about the mental game with Hawk and how he likes to hit that as well as the physical game. Just what are some of the keys that he's given you, to have this good start to the season?
I've seen it a lot in the freshmen and the younger guys, but and even myself, I'm not, I'm a victim of it too. But people let the game speed up on them a lot, just clouded vision, and so really just he has an emphasis on slowing the game down. Really taking a deep breath, stepping back, thinking about what you're going to do, and then just executing the pitch, which has been extremely helpful for me. Yeah.
As a guy that can really take the game to the batter with how hard he throws, what does that responsibility mean to you, being able to kind of set the tone a little bit with your fastball?
Yeah, just coming out of the pen and throwing strikes, really. It's all, Hawk talks a lot about how even though as the pitcher, we're on defense, you want to take the offensive while pitching. So you really just coming out of the pen, pounding strikes, throwing every pitch with conviction. That's really all you can do.
What's your 3-pitch mix? What do you throw?
Fastball, slider, changeup.
What's been working so far this year? Just obviously your fastball is 3 strikeouts on 11 pitches last outing, but what's been working outside of your fastball between those two?
The changeup is definitely, because in the fall I was working with the splitter, and then me and Hawk and Waz made the decision to go back to a changeup. So that's still a work in process, but the slider is definitely, that's my go-to. It's my bread and butter. Yeah.
Waz earlier said that he's looking for the older guys to step up and kind of talk to the younger guys. You're obviously kind of like a mix. You're a junior college guy, first year here, but not your first year in high-level baseball. Just What has that experience been like?
It's kind of a fake it till you make it thing. I'm trying to be a role model for the younger guys, especially because, I just want to, I am a little bit older than them. I do have some college experience, even though it's limited. But, I'm still like a student of the game, and especially guys like Isaac, RJ, Mercado, still just learning stuff from them. It's definitely different from JUCO, but yeah,
That's Jackson Jordan, one of the newest faces in the bullpen for Oregon baseball. Off to a pretty strong start. Gave some credit to his pitching coach, Coach Hawksworth. Happy birthday, Coach Hawksworth! His birthday today, and gets to celebrate it with the baseball game at PK Park coming up in just about 2 hours from now, a little bit over that. I'll be on the air in 2 hours from now over there, but we're not done being on the air over here yet. Bryce Betcher. You know him as a football player, you know him as a baseball player. Well, how about both? We're talking with Bryce next on Duck Inside on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. We heard from two baseball players, Logan Mercado, Jackson Jordan, as Oregon prepares for first pitch against UCSB coming up in, well, just a few hours if you're live with us in the 1 o'clock hour. And, well, those guys had stellar weekends, but I'm not sure anybody had as good of a weekend last weekend than Bryce Betcher did. He had a home run at the plate, and he had two diving catches in the field, including one that got on the SportsCenter top 10. It was a very strong week for Bryce Betcher, and, well, he got to meet with the media in the midweek. So here is the conversation with Bryce.
What's the effect of playing out in center field where there is just a massive yellow O on the ground? Does it help with positioning? Does it get in your eyes sometimes?
Yeah, when we first started, it did get in my eyes sometimes, especially when the sun would come out. But now it honestly works for positioning, like you said. Hank will be positioning us in the outfield, and I can, tell left and right fielder where to go. But I always base it off where I am in relation to the O and the center field fence. So it does work for positioning.
What are your walk-up songs this year? Why'd you pick what you did?
I did Bombastic by Shaggy. My little cousin, actually, we were going over walk-up songs in the car. She's like, hey, I think you should do this one. And I was sold on something else. Then I listened to it, and I was like, you know what? That could be good for me because I'm a very intense guy. And when I go up to the dish, I need something that mellows me out and makes me calm. So I figured that one was a good good walk up to get my brain right at the dish, so I'm not, trying to fight the pitcher, be more, 70% and smooth with my swing, and it's been working out good.
How do you balance that intense mindset in a quicker sport like football, and then when it kind of slows down a little bit on the baseball field?
Yeah, it's just getting back into it and understanding that, if I have a bad day at the baseball park, that I can come over here to Autzen and let it out on some dudes on the football field. And then, once I get that out, I can go out in the baseball field, and then it's just fun, and I'm relaxed and have a good time. Both of them go hand in hand, and, I've been doing it for a good amount of time now, so I've gotten a good balance down. Good question.
Those catches we were talking about made SportsCenter top 10. What was your reaction to finding out that happened?
I thought it was obviously pretty cool. We do have, Waz was actually talking about at practice, there's a standard in Oregon baseball that, those highlight plays, it's not a, oh my goodness, you made the catch. It's, yeah, that's the standard. We make catches. And if you don't make the catch, it's, oh my God, how did you not make the catch? So yeah, that was kind of my take on it. It was obviously cool to be on SportsCenter and have a lot of people watch it, but it's my standard. I take pride in making those catches, and I see it as routine.
What's it like working with Casella and Hurd out there, left and right?
Yeah, those are experienced ball players. Casella, and Hurd, both veterans. They play the game well. They're beasts at the plate, and they're fun to communicate with in the outfield, and overall just good dudes off the field too. So it's been fun.
This is a team full of veterans and yet new faces. Is that kind of an interesting balance?
Yeah, it is it is an interesting balance. It's especially with the portal nowadays. A lot of times you have a lot of turnover, a lot of new guys, and as you said, a lot of freshmen as well. I think our coaches and definitely our players do a good job of making sure the freshmen know that fall's over, it's springtime, you guys are no longer freshmen. Like last year we had a lot of freshmen play a big role on our team that, went pretty far. So as fast as those young guys can realize that, they're no longer freshmen and they are playing a big part of the ball club, the better we're going to be off as a team, and I think they're doing a good job of understanding that.
That's Bryce Betcher talking with the media earlier in the week, as Oregon baseball is going to be in action against UCSB coming up just shortly over at PK Park. I'll be on the call for that one. You can catch me on the Oregon Sports Network. Also going around the athletic department right now, Oregon lacrosse in action against Rider, 15-7. Two undefeated teams, Rider and Oregon. The Ducks are up 15-7. The game was tied at 7 at one point. The Ducks have rattled off, 8 unanswered goals, including outscoring Rider 6-0 so far in the second half. So a really strong start to the road trip for Jess Drummond's team, as she looks to remain the winningest head coach in Oregon history, a 1,000 winning percentage. Also, Oregon softball in action. They are up 6-2 over at Jane Sanders Stadium against Mount St. Mary's, and they will play Maryland. League schedule coming up later in the day. A whole lot of stuff going on for Oregon athletics over the weekend, and I will see you at baseball this weekend. Go Ducks!
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends, surprise parties, camps, birthdays. The same way you plan for the important moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones